Welcome to the Brewery Adventure. I'm Courtney.
And I'm Dan. We're here to dive into the world of your local brewery.
It's not just about the beer, it's about the vibe, the people, and the stories behind every tap room.
From small neighborhood spots to big bustling brew houses, we'll bring you along for the ride.
So grab a pint and join us on the Brewery Adventure. Cheers.
Oh,
that was solid.
Vibrant.
Yeah.
It's National Beer Day.
Happy National Beer Day.
April 7th, we're recording in the Wandering Leaf Brewing Company brew house because we forgot they had trivia tonight.
Oops.
And we rather than deal with the trivia host on the microphone, we decided we'll take our chances back here getting run over by Matt on the forklift.
Yeah, so far so good.
Yeah.
You might just hear some different noises back here tonight instead of like a bustling crowd around us.
So, fun fact, for those of you who don't know, Matt Holton is the head brewer here at Wandering Leaf, and Matt Waddell of Pen Name Fermentation Project is also brewing here, so they go by one T and two T's because Matt Waddell spells his name with one T, and Matt Holton spells his name with two T's. So just a little bit of a brewery trivia for you. So what are you drinking, Courtney?
I am drinking the Czech Pils.
The Czech Pils.
And I bet it has a fun name that I forgot.
Its pills are good.
Oh, it does have
Although
a fun
I think
name.
they might change it.
What?
TBD on that one. They were going to I don't know. I'm not sure.
I feel like you have inside information right now that you're not sharing with me.
No, he told me and I can't remember. So there's that.
You used to have inside information.
Too much fun over the weekend. I seem to have lost a few rods and cones and brain cells. I'm drinking the A Bit Weird Innit. It's the English dark mild that I helped make.
It's your
under
beer.
The tutelage of Matt Tooties and his gargantuan feet. Yeah, that's very good.
I hope he was not using his feet
Tasty.
to brew that beer.
No feet were used in that beer, which is good. So, Courtney.
Yeah.
We've been talking a while about going on a little beercation together. We finally decided to hit the road. And we went to Milwaukee, Wisconsin. But we had a little stopover first.
Yeah. We had a very important stop on the way there.
Because I know you are a woman of culture.
Oh, yes.
And you enjoy the finer things in life.
Very sophisticated.
And what can be finer than mustard?
Nothing.
Nothing at all.
Absolutely nothing.
Well, lucky for us, a place that's near and dear to my heart, and I've been several times before, the world's largest mustard museum. The National Mustard Museum has its address in Middleton, Wisconsin, which is just right outside Madison, Wisconsin. The cool kids call it Madtown. We went there amidst a rain squall, I would say. It was raining cats and dogs.
That's a good way to phrase it. It was a rain squall.
And dead deer. We passed
God.
13 dead deer and 30 miscellaneous roadkill, from turkeys to what looked like they might have been woodchucks. I don't know. They have a problem with...
That's the first road trip I've been on that someone was counting the roadkill.
Oh, I do it every time.
It was impressive.
It's kind of fun. And so we got to the Mustard Museum, and then I opened the car door, and I looked down and by the curb, and it was like whitewater rafting weather. It was crazy. So much rain.
It was a river.
And we went into the Mustard Museum, and I would like you to describe for the listeners your emotions as you walked in.
My obvious elation walking into the Mustard Museum. You walk in, and it's their gift shop area with all kinds of mustard stuff. Anything that you could put mustard on, it's there. You can buy mustard. You can buy mustard knickknacks. You can buy cutting boards. You can buy Wisconsin-y things. It was a really cute gift shop. So we walk in the door, and I'm just grinning and being a total dork, and I'm very, very sorry if I embarrassed you.
No, it was fine. That was I think back to my first time there, and I kind of did the same thing. I was like, what is this place? It looks, from the outside, it seemingly is nondescript.
Yes.
And so I was wondering the first time I was there, what is this going to be? Because I'd read online reviews. It said it's a pretty eclectic place.
Yeah.
They have a lot of mustards there for sale, and in the museum part, they have mustards from
for show
all over the world. Yeah, for show and some historical things. They also had some pretty funny stuff, like some of the artwork. They have the Scream the Scream painting with a squeezable thing of mustard as the face. Just kind of fun stuff like that. We didn't want to get sidetracked, and we went down to the museum first to get the learning out of the way.
Stay focused.
Stay focused, stay alive, especially when you're in Middleton, Wisconsin. I went down there, and I did not know that in the mustards around the world section, they actually had 5 or 6 mustards from my homeland of Colombia.
Yeah.
And I thought that was pretty cool. But I thought it was neat, like seeing all the different mustards, and then they've got like a little film area. There's places you can walk and look at, like I said before, artwork. We played the mustard ring toss, which was a lot harder than it looked. And then I think we both realized it was time to go up and try some mustards.
It was time to go up, but let me give you my fun factoid first.
Yes.
Because I'm going to be full of fun factoids today. I'm just telling you. There were over 6,000 jars, bottles, and tins from over all 50 states and more than 70 countries in that museum. That's a lot.
It's a ton. And it's not that big. So I'm wondering, like, how do they keep it all? Like, because there was also you could sign up to be in a Mustard of the Month club.
Yeah, you could.
Which I'm wondering how the logistics of that work. And I wonder how many people belong to that program. They had different options where you could get 1 jar a month, 2 jars a month. Some of it was like every other month. And they all had different price ranges and different kind of subscription options, for lack of a better term. As we were walking in, or maybe it was on the drive down, I'd commented and I was thinking, how does this place stay afloat?
Yeah.
Because you were asking me, is it going to be crowded? And every
My
other
concern wherever we go,
Yeah.
is it going to be crowded?
Courtney does not like crowds, which was really cool that you joined me for the state fair last year, because there were like hundreds of thousands of people there. But we were wondering, and I was kind of wondering, how do they stay afloat? Because a couple of years ago, I remember reading an article that said they might have to close because it never really bounced back after COVID. The last time I was there was pre-COVID, was 2019 in the fall, and I'd been there 2 previous times. So this was time number 4. And then we walked in, and that was the most people I'd ever seen inside the Mustard Museum. I think it was like 6 or 7 other people, and some little kid having a little meltdown. And
Oh my God.
I was like, okay, can we just make this mustard place for grown-ups? Reason 7,982 why I'm kidless by choice. But then we started shopping. I went over and got a basket. First of all, one of the things that I really love about this is you can try before you buy.
Yes.
And so there were some really good different mustards that I'm like, I don't know, this one is kind of sounds, I don't know if I'd like it. And then one of the mustard curators there of the museum, would it be a mustard docent?
Is there a name for it?
Isn't that the word for somebody who like works at a museum? I think it's a docent. She was like, is there anything you'd like to try? And so I wanted to try that one that was in like that clay jar. And she said, there's a regular one, and then there's that version with cognac. Because that mustard brand had been around for several hundred years, if I remember correctly. Yeah. So we tried both of them. I like the regular one better and wound up getting one of those. I think I walked out of there with 8 or 9 jars of mustard.
I walked out of there with a lot of mustard, and I'm only one person to eat all that mustard.
Yeah.
But I do think when it is eventually gone, the Mustard of the Month Club is going to be in my future.
Well, and that kind of answered the question. I mean, 2 people there on a whim spent damn near $200
on mustard.
Are probably going to wind up joining the Mustard Club. So I think that's how they stay afloat.
We're doing our part.
We're doing our part to support the arts and the mustards. And then I thought, like, I mean, you can't spend all day there. You know, it eventually, I mean,
if those other people hadn't been there and, like, kind of shoving in on the tasting situation, I could have been there all day.
That's true. That's those annoying kids were driving me. That would wind up being a theme
it's going to be a theme
of the trip. And then we're like, we need a snack. We need something.
Yes.
And so we did a little search on the Google and found Long Table Cafe. Or what was it called?
Long Table Beer Cafe.
Long Table Beer Cafe.
Yeah.
Literally a port during the storm for us. We went there. There were 2 spots on the end at the bar. I looked at the tap list and I was immediately excited because I saw some beers that do not ship to Minnesota, so they never get to try them. I had a beer from Trillium, Congress Street IPA, and I had a beer from Maine Beer Company, which I think Maine Beer Company may have just started shipping to Minnesota in the last year. And I had their Lunch IPA, which I'm not typically an IPA person.
You're not.
But when you can have IPAs of a certain caliber, I'm like, okay, twist my arm. Then we got a wonderful charcuterie board.
Yes.
Which had 3 different types of cheese. It had some carrots, some pickled beets, some nice toasted sourdough bread with a trout spread. There was a lot of good stuff on there, like the perfect snack. Like not like a whole meal. I mean, they did have meal type stuff, but we knew we were headed to Milwaukee later, so that was a real fun find. You had the
Potosi Cave Ale, red ale.
That's right.
It was delicious.
Yeah. And I've had stuff from Potosi before, but I've never been to the brewery. I feel like that might be
maybe we should go, Dan.
another brewery adventure type thing to do.
Here's my fun fact for Long Table Beer Cafe. So when we walked in, we sat at the bar, but there's also a bunch of tables, long tables, as the name would indicate.
Yeah.
Those tables are custom made in Middleton from reclaimed Nuclearis barnwood.
Oh, that's fascinating.
Right?
I love that. It was a cute little place.
It was adorable.
And then on the way out, I noticed a cooler of all sorts of different beers.
Yes.
And I bought a Giant Jones English-style barley wine to share. He doesn't know it. I don't know when he'll listen to this, but Andy, the city elf, the head brewer at Northbound, loves English-style barley wines. He has a shirt that says "Barley wine is life."
That's awesome. He's going to enjoy that.
We'll have to drop that off and share that with him at a Wing Wednesday some week coming up in the not-too-distant future. So.
And that was the whole thing about their beer cafe. They've got bottle service. You can order stuff on tap. All of their food is everything's meant to be like a shareable community kind of experience with whoever you're there with.
Yeah. There was a guy from New York who was sitting to our left.
He was an interesting fella.
He had some opinions about life. But I remember him asking like what he was going to order food. And they ordered, I said, well, the trout dip is pretty good. And he ordered it. And he's like, oh, that is good. I didn't know what it was. So I was like, that was a very bold move to go just, take some out-of-towners advice. But he was very interested in the price of real estate and wanted to move out of New York and into the Midwest. So already the trip is off to a great start. We're not even at our final destination yet.
No.
We had another about hour and a half drive to Milwaukee. Checked into an Airbnb in Bayview. Milwaukee's broken up into several different, what I would call beer zones. There's... I
thought you were going to say like... neighborhoods like pockets or something.
Courtney, it's a beer podcast. Why would you think I would refer to it as simple geography?
I almost spit out my beer.
That was funny. There's like the breweries that are north of downtown. There's like the historic Third Ward downtown. There's the place that's across the river, kind of east of downtown. Then you've got Bayview, Bayview is just kind of like the neighborhood. I would liken it to northeast Minneapolis, in the sense that it has a high concentration of bars, restaurants, coffee shops, all sorts of stuff. On our way out of town, we saw a bookstore, and I'm like, man, we should have carved out more time. I think we would have explored the neighborhood more had it not been so rainy and windy. But
it was the windy part.
It was not great weather for
just
really bopping around. So we checked into our Airbnb, which I thought was really cool. Perfect location. And the first destination was the Sugar Maple, a bar that is near and dear to my heart because I discovered it when I was doing research for a trip way back when in 2013 when I had gone there to explore the city, and it showed up in Draft Magazine's top 100 craft beer bars in the United States. And so there were actually two on Kinnickinnick Avenue. Kinnickinnick Avenue is the main, a big long street that goes like through Milwaukee, and another one, the other beer bar that I used to go to was called Roman's Pub. That is no longer there because the proprietor sadly passed away several years ago. But he was a very innovative and quirky dude. But he opened up Roman's Pub in 1978 and only had imports.
Wow.
Which everybody was like, you're crazy, you're not going to be able to stay open. And he wound up being one of the most iconic places. But he did have a little personal vendetta against cheap beer, even if it was craft, because on the board of his beer list was no spotted cow, not now, not ever. And people gave him a little guff for that.
Well, I would give him a high five.
Yeah. Well, we stopped for gas and we saw a bunch of New Glarus, and there were so many different ones that were just camped out in the gas stations. Now, here's an observation that I made on previous visits to Wisconsin. I noticed that there were more craft beer options in the beer cooler, but the only craft beer option I saw at the 2 different gas stations that we went to, and I realize it's a small sample size, were New Glarus. I wonder,
Did they corner the market at the gas
if
station?
they were like, okay, you can have more of our beer if you make us the only craft. I don't know. I mean,
I don't know.
I imagine New Glarus has deep pockets. Right now they're renovating their brewery and making it even bigger. And it's closed for tours. I think we had mentioned maybe we could pop over to New Glarus.
Yeah.
I'm like, we can't. It's not open. But I thought that was interesting. So anyhow, Sugar Maple to meet my friends Ben and Maria Powers.
Yes.
They're both teachers, also on their spring break. Ben grew up in Milwaukee, or just south of Milwaukee, and we met them there. They were drinking, I think Maria had a cocktail, Ben had a beer.
She had an NA cocktail at that point.
Oh, that's right. Because I think they had, because they went to the Lost Whale
Yeah.
beforehand. What did you think of the Sugar Maple?
I really liked the sugar maple. It's very dark, like almost dive bar-y in
Yeah.
there. But the counter is this big, curvy. It's really, really cool.
Yeah, looked like a massive grand piano, kind of like it kind of curves. They had a really nice tap list,
Yes.
and they also make cocktails.
Yes. Except I was a big idiot with my first beer.
Why do you say that?
All I wanted to do was get a Wisconsin beer. So I was looking at the different styles, and I saw Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and it said Indeed Brewing, but I'm like, it's not the same. There's no way that's the
yeah.
same. And then when I got my beer, you said, oh, that's Indeed. And I'm like, yeah, but it's not Indeed. And you're like, no, yeah, it is.
It is indeed.
And then I think some choice words might have come rolling out of my mouth.
I believe the exact thing that you said was, I make that I never get this beer again. It's like, tastes like, drinks like, smells like. Yeah, and then they're like, ma'am, you need to.
Okay, the beer wasn't bad. The beer was great. It was fine. It was just me thinking, like, I'm here to drink a Milwaukee beer, and I feel like I'm drinking a Minnesota beer.
Yeah, it's okay. What I did learn after talking to some different people was that the brewery in Milwaukee is mostly small batch pilot stuff that doesn't necessarily coincide with the beers that they
Yes.
make in Indeed. So
Maybe I did have a beer that was brewed in Milwaukee, but it still has a label on it that says Minnesota to me.
yeah, I think it was fine. I mean, did you enjoy the beer?
I did enjoy it.
Was it cold, bubbly, and delicious?
Reluctantly enjoyed the beer.
Reluctantly. Should never be reluctantly enjoying a beer. Although, I mean, that's one thing we did not. Maybe this is putting the cart before the horse, but we wound up visiting 10 total breweries, and I don't feel like we ran into any dud beers.
No.
So that was kind of fun.
I mean, there were a lot of beers that I didn't finish, and I feel really like, if you think I feel bad about chucking a beer on the ground at a beer festival, the panic and the angst that was rolling through me when I had to like return glasses that still had beer in them.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I felt awful.
Well, it's if you finish every taster,
You would have been carrying me around.
Right, exactly.
Dragging me around, maybe.
like would have been mastering our ventriloquist act. It's like
Don't mind her.
weekend at Courtney's part 1.
But I really, I want to try everything,
Yeah.
but 2 sips of everything.
Right.
I don't need.
Well, and we did a lot of flights, and it's okay to leave some beer left in the flight. Sometimes
You say that,
you have to.
but my heart says, I feel so bad.
Yeah, the heart says it, but your liver was like, "Thank you for doing that," because
Yeah.
you know, because I don't think. I mean, we drank just the right amount. It was never like a struggle to get up the next day.
No.
And so I felt like we tasted a bunch of stuff. I remember most of the beers that I had,
Yeah.
like flavor wise. So I feel like that's a good thing. We even worked in some cocktails and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So Sugar Maple, and then there's a bar right on the corner of that street of Lincoln and Kinnickinnick called Central Grand Cafe and Tapery, and it's very Belgian themed. Also, it might be train themed, like train riding car, like old timey.
Do you want to know why?
Yes, I do.
It is named for Centraal Station in Amsterdam and the Grand Cafes surrounding it.
Oh, I wish I had a more sounder. I'll just do that. Courtney's dropping some knowledge bombs.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Okay. So it did have like a train depot kind of a
Yes.
feel.
And their beers were Belgian or European inspired beers, and
Yeah,
even
there
their
were
food
some good ones.
was supposed to have been heavily influenced by Amsterdam.
Yeah, I thought the food was really good. You got a turkey burger.
Yeah,
Which
like
I
the
had
best turkey
that
burger
before
ever.
there, and I was like, good choice. I got like a Asian chicken bowl.
which also looked amazing.
It was so yummy. It was like the perfect level of kind of like sweet umami. The chicken had like a nice, must have had like a dusting, like a little bit of a crunch, but then this nice glaze or a bunch of other vegetables in there. I just wanted something not super duper heavy.
Yeah.
And it was just the perfect flavorful thing. We ate a lot of good things. When we were there. That stands out as being like one of my favorite things.
It was the kickstart.
It was the kickstart.
It set the standard.
The start pull of the good time machine. So that was fun. Then when we were done with that, we were like, hey, there's a pub right down the road.
You told me it was an Irish pub.
I felt like it was. If you look at their website, they kind of like make it seem that way. Then we walked in there and there was no taps. They had beer in the coolers and a bunch of mixed drinks, and they were doing karaoke. And I was like, I don't know. I think our party was split.
Maria and I were both like, this karaoke is amazing. We can stay here.
There was like an 80s song when we went in there. Somebody was singing an 80s song, I thought.
Yeah,
or maybe that was just a voice in my head.
No, it was great.
Yeah.
They were like good classic karaoke songs.
And they were going for it. I think there's nothing better than bad karaoke.
But they were good. Like
Yeah.
they were
They could
into
sing.
it and they were belting stuff out.
Yeah.
It was fantastic.
I love karaoke when you have somebody who's going for all the gusto, but they're a little tone deaf.
Yeah.
That was not the case at the Highbury Pub. The Highbury Pub on Kinnickinnick Avenue. It was good. I'm just like, I can't be here and not have a tap beer.
Yeah.
So then we're like,
It's not why we came here.
You know where we could go back to? The Sugar Maple. And we did.
I think they were really excited to see us walk back in the door.
Yeah, they're like, oh, these people.
These guys again.
And I had my first Wisconsin Old Fashioned.
Yes.
Which I learned is there's a lot of different ways to make it. I think when people say Wisconsin Old Fashioned, they talk about brandy, they're selling it short because I watched them pour Sprite in there and I was like, what?
Those Scotties.
Sprite in an Old Fashioned. So apparently you can get it with Sprite, you can get it with sour, or you can get it press style as Maria suggested, which is a combo of soda and then sour mix. And when I got it, where did I get it? I wound up getting several of them throughout our
You're
thing.
kind of on a mission.
So I tried them all, and they were all good. So I don't know what to tell you. I like the bourbon Old Fashioned better, but when in Milwaukee, I think I would strongly urge getting a Wisconsin Old Fashioned, especially if you're at the Sugar Maple. It was really good.
Yeah.
I thought it was delicious. And then it was nighttime.
I never knew about this whole like Wisconsin old fashioned versus everyone else in the world's old fashioned.
Yeah. Well, and I wonder, in your historical research, did you find the motivation for the Wisconsin Old Fashioned or how it came to be?
No, but I will have some other fun facts coming up when we talk about one of the other establishments that we went to.
Okay. I will wait for that with bated breath. So then it was like, okay, the first night of a trip, I've done this many a time where I've gone, as the kids say, hog wild and overdone it. And then the next day you're like, oh, that was too much.
I have this whole big day planned and I don't feel good.
Right. And so I think we called it after that.
Yeah.
And
I felt very responsible.
Yeah, that was good. Got a good night's sleep, big full day the next day. So that was, err on the side of caution when you're first night on a trip. Don't go too crazy. Unless you're like 24, then,
We're not.
We're not, though. I'm almost double that. So, yeah, it was good to know when to hold them, know when to fold them.
Yeah.
Then the next morning, went to Vendetta Coffee Shop, which, again, is right there. It was all right there. I cannot tell you how happy I was that we had such a great central location where we were. We could have just stayed there. We could have just kept meandering up and down that street. There were so many bars and so many cool things. Went to Vendetta Coffee Shop. From what I gathered, it was relatively new because there used to be a different coffee shop there. I had been to Collectivo before. That's kind of like, how Dunn Brothers is here. There's a lot of different locations and they're all different. That's kind of like Milwaukee's Dunn Brothers, the Collectivo coffee place.
They're also in Madison and Chicago, but we'll also get to that later.
Oh, God, a font of wisdom here. And so then we went to Vendetta. The coffee was good. I had a pistachio croissant, as the French say. That was good. That gave a nice little zing of caffeine. And then we met up with Ben and Maria.
Yes.
We were going to take an Uber, but Ben and Maria were like, no, Ben's dad has volunteered to take us. So picked us up.
It was an adventure ride, Dan.
It was an adventure ride. We were no longer 2 minutes into it, and then Ben's dad, decided to try to pull a maneuver and wound up getting stuck. What I think happened, he should have gone a little bit further and taken a right.
There was a little construction spot.
He turned too early, realized he wasn't going to be able to get through, and then tried to go back on a one-way to get
over a curb.
Over a curb. It was his wife's car. There was a little scrapage. But we were on our way to Kopp's Custard.
Kopp's Custard.
Kopps.
Yep.
It was nice. They have a bunch of cow sculptures in the parking lot. Do you have a historical fact for this one?
We were at the Glendale location.
Yeah.
My historical fact is that Kopp's in general is a Milwaukee landmark, and it was founded in 1950 by Elsa Kopp.
Elsa Kopp.
Yep.
Elsa Kopp knows her way around some custard.
She does. Well, and we were kind of told about this place. Maria had a goal for you. We talked about it the night before
several times
at the Sugar Maple, and it wasn't specifically Kopp's. She had other frozen custard options, but she said that you had only ever had Culver's frozen custard.
Yeah.
And she wanted to make sure that you had like a proper Wisconsin frozen custard experience.
It was good.
It was good.
It was proper, and it was Wisconsin. Went in, ordered a burger. Like a
Burgers
fool.
were good too.
Yeah, the burgers were really good. Like a fool, I ordered a double cheeseburger because I didn't realize how big they were going to be.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to have. So I ordered like a single scoop custard because you got a small custard dish. And I was like, well, I'll get that in a cone. And I figured it would be a small cone. No, I got a waffle cone the size of Montana with cookies and cream custard. And it was really delicious. So creamy, big chunks of Oreo cookie. The waffle cone was yummy. I don't normally get a waffle cone, but the last couple of times I've splurged and I'm like, why haven't I been doing this the whole time? I always get like it's not the kids cone, but it's like that kind of really crunchy.
The cake cone.
The cake cone.
Yeah.
So I got that, and that was good. Then we got back in the car, and what I thought was interesting was Ben's dad just waited for us in the car. We're like, don't you want to come in?
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I'm just gonna sit out here. And he went back. He was having some
he was jamming,
quiet time, listening to some music and whatnot. Then we got let off at the Central Waters location, which is very close to the Pabst complex where the brewery used to be. Captain Pabst's office. It's now like a gift shop, an event center. Pabst used to have a tasting room in that little chapel that we went to, and then a couple of years they sold it and Central Waters bought it. And so we went and had a bunch of Central Waters beers. Now,
so that building.
Yeah, let's hear it.
That building is really old. It was built in 1872, and it was the first German Methodist church. And then in 1898, it was acquired by Pabst. They used it as a restaurant. They did brewery tours. They did some employee training. And then in 1996, it closed, and it just kind of sat dormant for a while. Then Pabst revitalized it in 2017 and did like a pilot brewery and tap room in there. And then Central Waters came in 2021 and made it their tap room and brewery. They still have those. There's 3 big, massive copper tanks that are behind the bar area. Yeah. Those were originally installed by Pabst, so they kept those in there.
Okay, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
And then we hung out there, got some flights. They don't joke around with their flights.
Their flights, those glasses
6
are
beers,
huge.
Yeah, and that had to be more than like 4 or 5 ounces or whatever is the general kind that you get. The beers were good. I like when they denote which ones are taproom only.
Yes.
Because Central Waters, especially in Minnesota and for sure in Wisconsin, is widely available. You can get a lot of their specialty beers all over the place.
Well, and it wasn't just taproom only. Central Waters has their other facility in Amherst, Wisconsin. So they had denoted on their tap menu which beers were brewed in Milwaukee, and then which ones, the ones that were not marked with a star, were brewed in Amherst.
Yeah.
So if you were like me and were like, what's my Milwaukee beer? I got my flight of all just brewed in Milwaukee beers.
Yeah, that was good. They had some good lagers. I think my favorite one was the Throwback Lager, which was a kind of an homage to a pre-prohibition recipe that they must have concocted. And then I really liked the Munich Dunkel. That one was also good. What were some of your favorites?
My favorite might have been based on the name. It was still really good beer, but the name is Blood Oranges on Acid.
Oh, yeah.
And for some reason, that's awesome. I'll drink that all day.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was a good beer, too.
It was a good beer.
Was that a little on the sour side?
It was a little on the sour side.
You do like your sour beers.
I do. They're delicious.
Yeah. And that was kind of fun.
But there wasn't a bad beer in the bunch. Everything was really, really solid and tasty.
Yep. Then we walked down the street to the gift shop, and we had to get a picture by the Gambrinus statue.
Yes. The patron saint of beer.
The patron saint of beer. Then it was off to the trendy place. The place that everybody was like, oh, you got to go here.
The place that made me infinitely sad.
Not because the beer was bad, though.
Not because the beer was bad.
Because they had some bad behaved little rugrats running around.
Yes, we went to Amorphic Beer. Really cool building, really good space inside. If you'd taken all the people out, it was really, really cool.
Yeah.
Their beers were delicious, really like some unique flavors, some different kinds of styles.
Sure. Yep.
Decorated really nice. Lots of exposed brick and metal.
The table was taken from a basketball court.
Yeah,
I thought that was neat.
They did some really cool things in there. So, and they're supposed to be the sciencey brewery. So their owners have engineering backgrounds. They do a bunch of small batch alternatives to like Milwaukee's typical large production beer facilities. Yeah. The tap handles are metal tools, like little wrenches and hammers.
Yeah.
Really neat. But the big but, we get in there and it's pretty busy. It was was that Friday?
Yep.
It was Friday afternoon. Decent amount of people in there.
Yep.
People decided to have, it was like a 4 or 5 year old's birthday party in there.
Yeah.
First of all, I don't know what 4 or 5 year old is going to be like, yay, let's go to the brewery for my birthday. I think there's other fun things that you could do that your child would appreciate better.
I would hope so.
But those kids were little maniacs. They're running around like in a train. They're chasing each other around in circles, doing figure eights around the tables.
Annoyed.
They're screaming and like it was bonkers. The parents never said anything to the kids. No one in the staff ever said anything like, hey, maybe those kids shouldn't be running.
Well, and I remember when I went up to get my second beer, I overheard the guy, one of the bartenders, was talking to one of the people sitting at the bar. They were like, do you always have birthdays here? And he was like, no, sometimes. He's like, these people called and they asked about doing a piñata. And we were like, no, you can't be breaking stuff in a brewery. What are you, crazy? I'm like, these people were delusional, okay? Like, here's the thing. And depending on where you go, certain beer places have an understanding of etiquette. And I think it's like, if you are willing to take the time, talk to your children about how do you behave in a public place that's for adults. Yeah. I don't love kids in breweries. I get why like Wandering Leaf is a family-friendly brewery. Yes. They have activities for kids. I've been in here when there have been kids here, and for the most part, I've never seen anybody just letting their kids run wild. No. That's just something that I think as a parent or guardian of children coming into a brewery, you need to go over that with them. But you could also, as a staff person at the brewery, say something to the parents, or if you have to the children. Right. Like, no, this is not happening. Yeah. So that was I was going to say a little off-putting, but no, it was very off-putting. It was to really the point where I'm like, let's get out of here. I cannot hear myself think. So I took our empty, well, mostly some empty and some still full of beer glasses up to the bar area. And I put them on the bar, and there's 2 guys up there. They're like, what are you doing? You didn't even drink those. And I said, yeah, there's too many kids in here. It's time to go. We got to get out of here. Yeah. And they were like nodding like, yeah, this is really crazy in here. They seem to be kind of regulars. But the one guy said, this is why places like this are going out of business. Yeah. Like, well, which I don't know. My adult space did become a children's space today. Yeah. So yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, and I don't know how much longer we would have stayed, but like if that was our only beer visit of the day, we were ready to have more beers and spend more money. Yeah. So if each of us has 2 more beers, there's 4 adults. That's, quite a bit of revenue that just walked out of the door. Yeah. Thankfully, there was another. Oh, well, before we move on to the next place. We're not done with that place because they did some cool things. They apparently have Wisconsin's hardest trivia on Monday nights. Oh. I want to know what kind of questions they're asking. I want to know what their trivia is. That's a big boast. Have you ever been to, they used to do a pretty difficult pub quiz at Merlin's Rest. Ooh, no. And it was really good, and it would always have a theme. So once you figured out the theme, it was a lot easier, but these were hard questions. Yeah. Yeah, I do love trivia. I think it's a challenge sometimes to put together a good trivia team. You definitely need to have like some expertise in a lot of different areas. Yeah. But it was kind of funny that we were there with Ben and Maria because they have helped us. I've been on trivia teams with them at Boom Island. We've won first place several times. Team teacher? Yeah, because you've got math, social studies. Tina Flowers, of Flowers and Powers always comes up. She's got the music history.
Oh.
The music, like she knows songs, she knows everything. I have random trivia and sports. I know a lot of pop culture stuff. You get enough people and it's like, oh, yeah, there's really nothing we can't answer. So
that's a good way to do it.
Yeah, but I would love to go spend a week there and just do all kind of like the fun stuff that they don't have on weekends.
Yeah.
Like we're recording, the reason we're recording in the brew house tonight at Wandering Leaf is because they've got trivia out in the tap room. So Matt, 2Ts, was nice enough to let us come back here and set up on a picnic table.
Yeah. If you go in on a weeknight at Amorphic, hopefully there's not kids there, but you get $2 off full pours if you rode your bike in.
Oh, I love that. That's really cool.
Yeah.
I wish if there was a place that I could ride to, I would totally do that. And the nice thing is, if you're biking to a brewery, you can have, more than you would if you were driving. You still shouldn't bike. You can get a ticket for biking while intoxicated. That happened to a friend of mine, and he hit a stop sign. so maybe that was why. I don't know. What came first, the chicken or the egg? Yeah, Amorphic was good. The beers were good. I just thought, I could not handle anymore. And so this is the other thing. There were some little kids and somebody had a dog and they were being really rough with the dog. Yeah. And I'm like, these
are maniac children.
Going to lose a nose. When stuff like that happens, I always feel bad for dogs. I also sometimes worry about when I've been in a tap room and I see a dog and it's so loud. There's so much external stimulation. I wonder, is that dog having fun? And then I look at the dog owners and they're just totally oblivious to this. And I don't know, it's not my dog, so I don't know how to read the body language, but sometimes I wonder if people could just maybe be a little, maybe.
Just because you can bring your child or dog into that space doesn't mean you should.
Right. Exactly. So that was it for Amorphic. Any other tidbits? What was your favorite beer? You had a lot of really neat stuff in your flight.
So that one, again, it was a sour.
It was good.
It was so good. It was a cactus fruit and hibiscus.
Yes. Very aromatic.
Yeah.
And had a nice, wasn't too acidic. It wasn't I carried my bag of Tums with me everywhere. And I didn't really have to reach for them after taking a sip of that. So that was pretty good.
It was your easy drinking. I could drink this all afternoon kind of sour.
Yeah. And had there not been a birthday party there, Lord knows we might have done it. Then it was, I really liked, so they had a dark Czech lager and a pale Czech lager, and then they had a Japanese rice lager.
Yes.
All of those were great. I would have multiple pints of each one again in my future. So I would go back to Amorphic in a heartbeat.
But if I see kids inside, I'm just turning around and leaving.
I would probably not go on a... Well, and also it was Good Friday, so I'm sure a lot of people had off. Maybe that's what... Also, who has your birthday on a Good Friday? I have so many questions, but...
Those kids were old enough to have a birthday party someplace fun.
Go to a climbing wall. Or just go down to the lake.
Go down to the lake.
Give each one a fishing pole and I don't know, what else would a kid bring to a fishing themed party? What was the thing that people did for birthdays when you were younger?
Sleepovers? Yeah. A lot of sleepovers.
That's pretty...
But Chuck E.
standard.
Cheese was the one that I think I said, why aren't they just at Chuck E. Cheese? Because the kids would have more fun.
Right.
Which is probably a dated thing. But then I think Ben said the same thing when we left.
Yeah. No.
Maybe they should go to Chuck E. Cheese.
Definitely. Then it was down the road, literally.
I think these breweries are all within 2 miles of each other.
Okay.
It's a little pocket. What did you call it earlier when I was expecting to hear the word pocket?
Brewery zone?
Yeah. It's a little brewery zone, a 2-mile brewery zone.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Because we walked past this dump site and we saw a cat.
Yeah.
And then we went to Gathering Place Brewing.
It was like an oasis off in the distance.
Yeah.
And as soon as we walked in, it was an exhale of, this is where we're meant to be.
Yep. Yeah, it was really nice to just get in there. It was quiet. There were people.
It was very zen.
It was very zen. They had some good beers too. We got some flights, some different stuff.
Yeah.
We wound up hanging out there for a while. We heard some more funny stories about Ben's family and some interesting stuff, but the beers were really nice. And I think it's just coming out of that chaotic atmosphere at Amorphic. Gathering Place was the perfect time. I think it's sometimes when you go to a brewery, especially if you're doing them in quick succession like we were, the order and your mood matters. Had we gone to Gathering Place first, maybe it wouldn't have been as cool. So sometimes it's you have to think about that. Or I always think you can't rate the last place. If you're going to 4 different breweries in a day, the last place you're not gonna be able to really truly appreciate it just because your palate is fatigued. You might be a little bit more intoxicated than you were at the beginning of the day, so you might not remember all the details of it. Also, I think for me, the more beer I have, the more I'm into like the social interaction. I'm not really wanting to like really dissect the beer. Whereas at the first place, I'm like, okay, let's get into it. How does it smell? How does it look? At the last place, I'm just like, hey, this is fun. Let's play bags. You know, just kind of a different mindset. So I liked it. They had a really good Italian Pilsner and an Irish dry stout.
The Irish dry stout was really super good.
I liked those.
And then the other one I really liked was a pineapple pale ale.
Oh, that's right.
Again, here's my fruity, my fruity beer.
Yeah, but that one. So I was thinking about that, but I'm like, pineapple and a pale ale. I'm like, that's just the pineapple's gonna completely overwhelm.
It didn't.
Everything. No, it was like, it wasn't the cloying sweetness of the pineapple. It was like the bright, ripe fruit of the pineapple that was really, really yummy.
And it almost felt like it had a little spice to it.
Yeah.
It was really, really good.
Yeah, that was nice. That was a good place. I'm glad we went there. It was kind of like the perfect thing. Did you have any historical facts about Gathering Place?
I do. They were founded in 2017 and partly funded through Kickstarter.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
Yeah. And they're a space that they like, their whole thing is building stuff on community.
Yeah.
They want to have a community space. They donate, I think, at least 1% of their revenue to local nonprofits.
Yeah.
They do one night a week where they pick a different nonprofit and they will donate a certain percentage of their taproom sales that night to that nonprofit.
Yeah.
So they're in it.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah. And their decor too. Lots of really cool woodwork. They had one whole wall, floor to ceiling, was all kinds of different wood pieces that were put together. When we walked in, we walked under these big like steel arches.
Yeah. It was a very neat place. Unique. It had a unique feel. I would definitely go back there again.
But a very cozy, comfortable feel.
Yep. Yeah. My only complaint,
I know what it's going to be.
I wish the chairs had backs.
Yeah.
Because, I'm getting old and my back is feeling older.
Yeah.
So being more comfortable probably would have, we didn't have a ton of time, but that would have made the experience a little better.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. And then it was off to Black Husky.
Yes.
I have been trying to go to Black Husky since my first time. Well, not my first time in Milwaukee, but definitely since I ventured back there in 2019. And I was like, oh, Black Husky. Let's try to go there. It's kind of, if you're staying in Bayview, it's on the opposite end of downtown to the north.
Yeah.
So it's always in the north beer quadrant. And I think every time I've been there, when I went with Aaron and Jeff Ziert a couple years ago, we just didn't have the bandwidth for it because it was so far out. We were more centrally located in the city, but we're like, okay, let's go. And I was really happy we did.
Yeah.
It's an older spot, and I think they're more, whereas Amorphic felt like newer, new age. Like this is kind of your classic brewery from the standpoint that they've got a stout, a porter, a pale ale, like all the traditional styles that you'd want. Now, one thing that owner did say that he tends to brew bigger beers.
Yeah.
They didn't have a whole lot of lagers. They had a few. They had a Doppelbock. They had an Oktoberfest. But it was more of a kind of a traditional old school spot, I would say.
And where we were sitting behind you, there was a wall with lots and lots of dog pictures.
Yeah.
So their brewery, Black Husky Brewery, was inspired by the dogs in their sled dog kennel.
Yeah.
So they have a wall and each picture has like the dog's name on it. And there was a picture that had the owner, Tim
and Smokey.
And he's got like his arm wrapped around the dog, and we look over and we're like, that's that guy. He's there, and he's there.
Remember, he walked by, I asked, are you Tim or Smokey? He's like, oh, I'm Tim. And he kind of looked like a character right out of the TV show Vikings.
Yeah.
Tattoos kind of up both arms. He was pretty buff.
Yeah.
Like it's clear he does some sort of like intensity weightlifting, shaved head, big, huge beard. Quite the character.
He came over just based on that. Like, are you Tim or Smokey? He came over and just started talking to us about Milwaukee beer history, Milwaukee brewing history, giving us little gossipy things about different breweries.
Yep. Yeah. He gave us a lot of funny little tidbits. He was friends with the owners of Lakefront. hunt. The Klitsch brothers, I've met Jim Klitsch before, but he was talking about Russ Klitsch.
Yeah.
Okay, so the brother I haven't met, he said they're both kind of polar opposites. Jim's more outgoing, Russ is more kind of an introvert. But then he was talking about some sort of bowling fundraiser, and that's when it got a little wacky because he's like, we're prepping for this thing, and there was something that the guy who owned the bowling alley, Tim, was like, if you ever need anything, do not hesitate to ask. And then like when he went over there, somebody from his staff went over there and found the guy had passed away.
Yeah.
Like found him that he had passed away. And that was kind of a thing. He's like, oh, man. So like, here's what you can do. You can take over this bowling fundraiser. I think there have been times where I'm like, let me know if you need anything.
Yeah.
Don't hesitate to ask. I just assume nobody's ever going to take me up on that. They're just sometimes
someday someone
do,
will.
And you're like, well, I guess I have to do this now. I need to learn how to crochet some sort of thing or whatever they ask you to do. In this case, it was run a bowling thing. And he just had a lot of funny stories, but I hope I get an email from him because I'd love to go back and interview him about his history in the Milwaukee beer scene because he's been around for quite a while.
He has a lot to say, and we unfortunately had to leave because we had dinner reservations and
yes,
had to boogie and cut him off, and I felt so bad.
Well, and I knew time was, getting a little short, and then I looked at my watch, and I'm like, oh, man, we got to go. So I ordered an Uber without telling anybody. Sorry, we have to go. Our Uber's here. And everyone's like, So we had to get out there because we had to go to Central Standard Distillery.
Yes,
and
Craft House Kitchen and Craft Distillery.
Yeah, now that came recommended from one of your friends.
Yes, he went to college with the two owners.
Okay.
So he recommended that we go there. So they distill bourbon, whiskey, and vodka using local ingredients.
Yeah, we get in there, pretty busy.
Yeah.
I wasn't quite sure how swanky this place was going to be, but it was nice.
It was the right amount of swank.
Felt casual.
Yeah.
They had a fish fry. And then that's where I ordered the brandy old-fashioned press.
Yes.
Because Maria had been talking about the get it pressed because it won't be as sweet. So it's a combo of soda water and sour. And it was good. And it had the maraschino cherry, the orange wedge. It looked real nice in that glass. I'm like, this is the quintessential Wisconsin drink. And I was really glad I had that.
It's funny you say that because Central Standard does a Wisconsin Brandy Old Fashioned Hall of Fame. So
interesting.
Every year in September, you can nominate someone who you think should be in their Old Fashioned Hall of Fame. Someone who's really passionate about the drink, somebody who makes just a really good brandy old fashioned. They get hundreds of nominations. They pick 6 people and induct them into their Hall of Fame.
That'd be really fun to go down there for that. Did they say what time of year they do this? Is it a yearly thing?
I think they said the nominations happen in September.
Okay.
So I don't know if they have some kind of event in September or shortly after that they have a formal induction ceremony, but I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
And it was another cool building.
Yeah, it was really neat.
I've got facts on that too.
Oh, let's hear them.
That was an 1874 building that was originally designed by some famous Milwaukee architect named Edward Townsend Mix. But when Central Standard went in there, they needed to do some serious restoration.
Okay.
The building, the floors that should have been flat were sloped as much as 15 inches over 60 feet, and the brick walls leaned to the west by almost 6 inches per story of that building.
Oh,
and that was a multi-story building.
Makes me think of the Leaning Tower of Pisa.
Yeah, that's all I could picture
funny.
in my head was this building that was slightly off to the side.
Yeah, that was it. That was really good. I love the bar. The bar was really cool. The whole place was cool. That was neat.
And we didn't get to see, they have a patio, a rooftop patio that's called the Aviary.
Yeah.
That's supposed to be really, really cool. But it again, the weather wasn't that great when we were there.
When it was raining, cats and dogs. I don't know. That was one of the slight bummer. But when you're with the right people and you're having fun and you're going to different places, it doesn't matter if it's rainy or not. You're joking around. You're having a good time. Then they had another thing that's quintessentially Wisconsin is a Friday fish fry. So I was like, fish fry, let's do this. Pretty decent. I thought it was pretty good.
I'm laughing because I got a bunch of grief from our gaming friends.
Yes.
When I said we're going to Milwaukee, and they said, "Are you going to have the fish fry? Specifically, are you going to have a walleye fish fry?" And I said, "Absolutely not on the walleye. I don't like it. I'm never having that."
And that's interesting because when I think of walleye, I think of Minnesota.
I feel like that's more of a Minnesota thing. I grew up with fish fries, and I don't think they were walleye fish fries ever.
I'd seen Urban Growler does theirs. They claim it's very Wisconsin Supper Club, and they use perch.
Oh,
but not walleye. I mean, when I think fish fry. I think cod,
Yeah.
like fish and chips
Yeah.
kind of a thing. So I don't know. That's what we had. Came with
I ordered
coleslaw,
the fish
fries.
fry just so I could send a picture to the gaming
Yeah.
people.
Yeah, that's right.
100%.
Yeah. Yeah, then we said goodbye to Ben and Maria. They were headed home, and we were like, Oh, wait. Time
There's
out.
more. No. There's more. Like, we're going on to another
Yeah.
bar.
Oh, yeah. We're like, we can't call it a night yet. This is Friday. We survived a kid's birthday party.
Yeah.
Let's go to the Lost Whale, which is a really nice cocktail bar
Yeah.
in a house. This is the other thing I like about Bayview. A lot of the bars and things like that are in an old house. So
Yeah.
you feel like you're in somebody's living room, which is kind of cool. You got a fancy drink that came with a flower. It was like...
It was called She Came Down in a Bubble, Doug.
That's right.
And we had to look up the video meme that it came from.
That's right. And it was pretty funny. But it had green chili in it.
Yeah, and it had the little bubble things in the bottom that I was
Yep.
fishing out. It was really good.
Had a flower.
Yeah.
That was fancy.
I put it in my hair.
I got a Wisconsin Old Fashioned. I kind of laser in on a cocktail,
You were on a mission.
and I just wanted to try different ones. You know, when I discover something that is of a certain place, I really like to try to understand the different ways it can be presented. Which that's why I got so many Wisconsin Old Fashioned. And we weren't driving, so
No.
we were at the liberty of the Uber and the Lyft, so that was fine.
So the Lost Whale.
Yeah, tell me about this because it
The
had to have been
name.
something else, or like what's the
name.
historical learning that we're gonna have?
The name is from an April Fool's article that circulated about whales being spotted in Lake Michigan.
Oh, for God's sake!
And so many people just thought that the article's real. There's a Facebook group that has about 11,000 followers of people who are hoping to catch a whale, see a whale in Lake Michigan. You know it's not in Lake Michigan?
Whales. You know why? Because it's a freshwater lake. That doesn't stop people from thinking what could possibly happen.
Yeah. So
That's-
that's what they named their
That's
bar.
funny. So that was nice. That was a cool place.
Also very like the bartenders there were really super friendly and
Yep.
talkative.
They had a lot of industry knowledge too. They were telling us about other places to go.
Yeah.
The
I
bartender that
really
was-
appreciate that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
If I can go into your bar and you're making other recommendations
Yep.
as the employee, like go here. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, that was really fun. And then, when you're like, you're ready to go home, but then you realize on your way home, it's really cold and the wind is really blowing and the rain is chilling you to the bone. And you're like, maybe I just need one more nightcap. That's when the Sugar Maple, being a 2-minute walk from the Airbnb, becomes a genius move.
We tried to walk back to the Airbnb.
Yeah.
We really made a good effort.
It was like the Death Star tractor pull
Yeah.
of getting to the Sugar Maple. So we went for one more nightcap, sat at the bar. That was cool.
At the Curvy Bar.
At the Curvy Bar, had a drink, nice conversation, and then we're like, all right, time for bed.
Now I can suffer through the rest of the walk home.
Yeah. Really kind of broke it up. And then we wake up and the next day is Saturday.
Yeah.
Still got a whole day. That was our goodbye to Ben and Maria. They had to come back. So then we were on our own and we had kind of looked at, okay, maybe this is a day we'll just kind of stay in the Bayview area. So I'd done a little bit of research and a lot of people said go to Supermoon, which was just a little bit southwest of where we were staying.
But before Supermoon.
But before Supermoon, we're like, we need food.
Yeah. We needed a base to start
We
the
needed
day.
a base. And there was this place called Lulu's Cafe.
Yeah.
And we went there, and it did not disappoint. They have a tap list that looks
Yeah.
really good, but I'm like, I'm not ready for beer yet because I haven't had enough coffee, so I just needed more water. Their food was really good.
Their food was amazing.
Sometimes when you go and have a meal and you look at what other people order, and you're like, I have entree envy. I had some serious entree envy for what you had. Yours looked great.
I had a chicken and black bean thing and a pita,
Yeah.
and it had homemade potato chips. And the bartender recommended this is not a flavor I like. I'm normally not a blue cheese person. That's just not something I get into. But she's like, hey, we make all of our own sauces. They
Yeah,
don't
they're, like, known
believe
for
in
it.
yeah,
Yeah.
they don't want to have just like pre-made sauces. They're not going to give you a ranch. She's like, you have to try the blue cheese sauce.
Yep.
Oh my God, was it good?
Yeah, that was really, really awesome. So, and I got like tuna fish, like a seared tuna sandwich. I thought it was going to be more like sliced, but it was like a
tuna steak.
like a tuna steak on a sandwich. Really tasty, really good. The homemade potato chips, chef's kiss, so delicious. And that was like, okay, this perfect base, not super heavy,
No.
but good. We were ready.
And it was the space there, really fun and funky, and it was an energetic way to start the day, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
And our bartender, again, was incredibly friendly.
Yeah, we didn't run into really any dud bartenders.
No.
Which I think you probably can't get a job in that town if you're not good with people. Then it was off to Supermoon Beer Co.
Yes.
For a long time, I've believed that if craft beer and space exploration could merge and create something really special, it would be like Supermoon Beer Co.
They were exceptional.
This place was really, really, if you are somebody who appreciates mixed fermentation, spontaneous fermentation, really clean beers. They had saisons, they had a Belgian triple, they had a Belgian blonde, very kind of like a level above some of the other places we were going from a style standpoint, and probably a degree of difficulty, because I think it's really hard to pack so many different aromas and textures into a beer and still make it drinkable and balanced.
Yes.
Because I could have stayed there all day long just sipping on some of those beers. They were
Plus,
really
their
nice.
space was so cozy.
Yeah, you had the perfect descriptor for it. You're like, this is like a really chic coffee shop vibe.
Yeah.
And it was exactly that. Really like cool artwork on the walls, bright whites, couple plants, but not like over the top.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a TGI Fridays where stuff is like,
no.
there's stuff on stuff on stuff on the walls. It was very...
Everything felt very sophisticated in there.
Yes. So that was really good. The taproom manager, Jamie, was super nice, helped answer questions. We asked politely if we could put stickers on the beer cooler. She was like, go for it. Now, I'm guessing you have a factoid about Supermoon Beer Co.
So that building was 120 years old.
I would have guessed no older than 87 years.
Again,
so that's crazy.
like renovated. They opened in 2022 as the tap room. Do you know what Supermoon is?
Is it the American version of a pressed ham in Canada?
What? It's a beer term, Dan.
Oh, tell me more.
It is the thin, whitish film, like a wild yeast or bacteria that forms when beer is exposed to oxygen during fermentation.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah.
Oh, is that because it kind of looks like the surface of the moon?
I guess so.
Okay.
Supermoon. It's different than the supermoon you're referring to.
Right, exactly. Yeah, so supermoon, I would just, when you moon somebody.
It's not that kind of supermoon.
I've done drive-by moonings before.
Oh my God.
But there's something really funny about mooning somebody. So it's nice to know that the real supermoon definition, it relates to beer.
It's beer.
Which makes sense.
Yeah.
Because they do both stainless steel beers and wood-aged beers.
Yes.
So a lot of really good stuff. I would compare it to, what would that place be similar to in Minnesota? What do you think?
I don't even know what I could compare it to here. That was a totally different brewery vibe for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I think about like when, Lupulin has their Scribbled Lines beers. That's like along the lines of that.
Yeah.
Kind of like those like really like special beers that take a while to make because they spontaneously ferment. So that's not just something that's in and out of a tank in 2 weeks.
When we're drinking them in stemmed wine glasses.
It was really fancy.
It was fancy.
Yeah, it was really good. And that's why I was like, oh, I want this one. I think my first beer came in just like a normal pint glass. I'm like, I need one of those fancy ones for a picture. And then it was time. We had a full day, and I'm glad that it started out at Supermoon, because that again was like the calm, mellow experience to just get rolling. Really did a nice job of setting the tone. We had an ambitious itinerary for the rest of the day because we wanted to go to 5 breweries. Yeah. That's ambitious. And then we knew that there was the distillery in the same building as the last place. So I'm like, how are we going to be able to accomplish all of this? Then it was off to third space. And we kind of lucked out with our Uber driver. This one was William. Oh, William. He had a lot to say. William had a lot of stories. He was picking us up, and he asked what we were up to. We were like going to more breweries, and he seemed real excited about that. I think he would have like joined us if we would have asked him. He had a lot of local knowledge that I think he chatted for the entire Uber ride, just pointing out this building and that building and this bar over here and that bar over there. There's nothing worse than a rideshare driver who doesn't say anything and won't play the radio. You ever had that experience? It's
I'm
freaking
okay with
awful.
that, Dan.
Oh my God, I can't stand it. Yeah, this guy was a talker, had a really nice fishing themed minivan.
Yeah.
Was kind of like the thing with him. And that was fun. He was talking about bars, breweries, all sorts of stuff. I think we got him thinking about beer because he's like, yeah, I've got a, what was
the way he phrased it.
Yes.
He had a threesome of something waiting for him at home. He had a threesome waiting for him at home.
Yeah. And it took me a second, but he's like raised grain, threesome, something. And it was a beer. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it took me a second. I'm like, wow, this man lives a different lifestyle than
was not expecting that from
some of
William.
us. But we were talking about, he's like, where else have you been? And we're like, yeah, we went to Black Husky last night. And he knew
Tim. He knew our new friend Tim.
And he knew Russ. He said he goes to lunch with Russ Klitsch from Lakefront like every other month or something like that. So he seemed like he knew a lot. He was a good ambassador for Milwaukee. And then dropped us off at Third Space Brewing, which is a little bit kind of west of downtown, if I'm understanding the directions correctly. But Third Space is a place that started, I believe, in 2017. And I have been, the last time I was in Milwaukee in 2023, I went there with Jeff and Aaron Ziert. And Aaron has this really crazy thing about he has to get either a walk or a run in every single day, or he owes Marcus, the person who does their marketing and labels, he owes Marcus some money. So they did this thing, and it's great. I'm all in the favor of fitness and moving. But we wound up walking from like downtown to, I think we were at the public market. So we were at the walk from the public market to Third Space, which is basically a tour of the undercarriage of the interstate system.
Yeah.
And it's not a fun walk. It's god awful, as a matter of fact. And it's just like, oh, this is way better just to drive. But the beers there are really solid. I was really excited to go there.
They have a huge tap list.
And they do a lot of like staff beers, like different brewer beers. I mean, I had seen on social media that they had a Maibach, and I was really excited about that. And then they had a great rice lager that was yummy. They had an amber lager that was yummy. They had a barrel-aged Irish coffee stout that was yummy.
The peanut butter
porter was good. It was leaned heavily into the roasted peanut, not so much like it wasn't super sweet. And then we had a great bartender there.
Yes, we did.
Her name was...
I don't know that we ever got her name.
Was it Carmela?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, I'm going to say Carmela.
She was showing us pictures on her phone and telling us all about this Easter brunch she was putting together.
Called She Is Risen. It was just kind of funny.
Yeah.
It was
and the bolos that she was making for her brunch guests.
Yeah, that sounded fun. I was like, maybe they'll invite us if we're nice to them. They were playing cards. They were playing, what game were they playing?
They were playing gin.
Gin. Okay. So that was fun. Now, there was also a kid's birthday party there, and it wasn't
crazy. It wasn't mayhem.
So we had some nice beers there. And you got a really awesome green hoodie.
Which I'm still
hoodie.
wearing and probably haven't taken off since then.
You've just been living in that hoodie. That's okay. No judgment here. That's fine. That's fun. It was great. I think Third Space is really cool. Their beers are yummy. The first time when I was there in 2017 for the Beer Bloggers and Writers Conference, they were pouring their Happy Place IPA. And they also had a pale ale like at the conference. And they were really good. And I wonder if that was like their launch or kickoff thing, or they were just like, hey, can we have our beers there because we're new? I think it's a lot bigger now. They do a lot of stuff. I should have asked how many barrels of beer they do a year because I felt like it was a lot. They had a lot of big equipment back there.
Those are fun facts that I did not look up.
What is your fun fact for Third Space?
They actually opened in 2016.
Oh, okay.
But by 2018, they were named one of the 50 fastest growing craft breweries in the country.
Okay, interesting.
That's not a lot of time.
I mean, back then, if you were a good brewery, your rise was fairly meteoric. Like, you got big fast.
Yeah, they did pretty good. They're only distributed in Wisconsin, we found out.
Yeah, I wasn't even going to say it because there was, when we were getting close to Menominee, I looked over on the other side of the highway and I saw a Third Space van parked. I'm like, maybe we could just break into that garage over there and get ourselves some six packs for the road.
And they also had a very old building.
Yeah.
Like their building was a metalworks company that was founded in 1880.
Oh, wow.
And that metalworks company made the first character themed lunchbox that featured Mickey Mouse in 1935.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Like those old tin. Did you ever have
Yes.
a tin lunchbox with like the little latch
Little
and
latch?
the thermos?
Yeah.
Like, that's cool. I had a laser. I didn't have a tin one. I had a laser tag one that was plastic, and I broke it.
And before that metalworks company was there, it was a brickyard that opened in 1836.
Oh, wow.
So all of the Cream City bricks that are all of those beautiful brick buildings in Milwaukee, a lot of those bricks came from that brickyard. There were like two big brickyards, and that was one of them.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I didn't want to leave that place.
No.
But I knew we had to because we had to get to this building that Ben's dad pointed out the previous day used to be a factory where they made some sort of parts for dump trucks. And I don't remember, but that was the thing. And then we passed it. That's right when he got stuck. So that's we literally came full circle. This big, huge building.
The Lincoln Warehouse.
The Lincoln Warehouse, which is like an incubator. I think somebody said, what brewery started in there that moved out?
So the first brewery that we went to had previously been home to Enlightened Brewing, Eagle Park, and then Component, which is now in a different location in that same building.
Enlightened closed like a year or two ago.
Oh.
That was pretty cool, though. Wait, Enlightened was in that same building?
Yeah.
Huh.
They were so the first brewery that we went to was Torzala, and they were in like a little space up on the second floor. That actual space had been Enlightened Brewing, and then Eagle Park, and then Component.
Oh, sure. Okay, so Enlightened probably started there, and then when I went to Enlightened in 2021, they were in a different building. I think we drove past it because it was over kind of in the Bayview area.
Yeah, it sounds like all three of those ended up being, at least for a while, successful breweries. And it also sounds like they all kept that space, whoever moved in, kept purchasing the brewing equipment from the previous brewery.
Sure. Well, that's like the original Broken Clock location. That started off as Northgate, then 56.
Oh.
Then it was Broken Clock, and now I think the building is no longer there, or they like changed it, because that's why Broken Clock moved to Marshall.
Yeah.
Because they got that new place, but they were the last. But it was kind of like a similar thing where it was like an incubator. A place starts, gets big, moves out. Another place comes in, gets big, moves out. Rinse and repeat.
Yeah.
So that was fascinating.
But
Torzala
was huge. Yeah. It's a huge warehouse building.
It's ginormous, and there's a lot of different stuff. There was the beer. What was it called? The beer museum.
It's the Museum of Beer and Brewing.
Yeah.
I took a very sad photo from the outside looking in.
And the people at Third Space told us we should go. And the website made it sound like it was open.
Yes.
So we were really excited. We went there and it was dark. And that made me sad. But, when one door closes, another door opens.
Yeah. We drowned our sorrows at Torzala.
Yes, we did. And that was up on the second floor. Kind of a neat little spot.
Yeah.
Different flavors, different things going on. Also BIPOC owned, which I always love when I can find a...
Not only, it's the first
BIPOC woman owned.
Yeah, it's the first woman owned, minority owned, and I think they're also
Latina,
family run brewery in Milwaukee. So they have, I think the history was Polish, Irish, and Mexican.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah, it was good. We got a couple flights. Watched a little bit of the basketball game because it was the Final Four.
The one beer in particular that was a standout for me was the smoky, spicy.
Oh, that's right. What was that beer called? Oh my gosh, that was good.
Dynamica Dolores.
Yes, Dynamica Dolores. That was an interesting, not too much spice, but it definitely...
It was not too much spice. It was not... Sometimes the smoky beers are really overpowering on the smoke, and you can't drink more than a couple sips of it. Theirs was really, really... It had a nice smoky start and then a little spice to finish it off, and you could keep drinking it, and it was still tasty.
Yeah, they had a bunch of different styles that I liked. I want to say they had some different lagers. Let me refer to my Untapped. That's what this people ask me, why do you have Untapped? Well, so I can log the beers, so when I'm in a situation such as this,
flights there.
We did,
and I think we got all of their beers, and we did end up with one seltzer.
Yeah, because they were out of something, and that's usually the only time I would ever have a seltzer.
But it was a margarita seltzer. It was pretty good.
Yep. So we did the Irish Dry Stout. We did the 7 Words Double IPA.
The Gravedigger Killer Kolsch.
Oh yeah, that was good. That was good. I like that. The Lumberman Red, the Rauch beer. That was Dynamica Dolores.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was really okay, how raunchy is this beer going to be? Wheat beer, Hefeweizen. Their Hefeweizen was good.
Yeah, it was.
I think that was like my highest rated one next to the Kolsch. And the seltzer was nice. I feel like that one, I would want to go there again, like maybe first, because at that point I was pretty hungry.
Yeah.
And I was kind of like, okay, I maybe like need a break from beer. Luckily, on the first floor,
As
there's
luck
the
would have it.
Jalisco Cantina, and they serve their pozole by the boatful.
That's when I had food envy.
Yeah, it was really good. And I even ordered like a couple tacos to go along with it because I'm like, I just thought it was going to be like a little teeny tiny little bowl.
It was a gigantic bowl.
It was like one of the Great Lakes.
Yeah.
The pozole of the Great Lakes. It was
a great
yummy.
lake of deliciousness.
Had a great, so you can get pozole like red or green. This was red and it had hominy in it, really luscious chunks of pork that had been braised for hours, so they literally fell apart in your mouth. The broth was very flavorful, very aromatic, and it's kind of like the Mexican version of pho because it comes with a side plate of like chopped onions, cilantro, cut up radishes, and I put all of it in there and let the radishes kind of cook. That was so good. Also, kind of rejuvenated my soul and my constitution. Yeah. I feel like if it was a video game, my life meter was getting a little low. I needed the pozole of life. That did the trick. We still had
some places to go
two
in that
more
building.
breweries to get to. So then we headed to. Now, did you have any facts about the Jalisco Cantina?
Only that they haven't been open very long.
Okay.
They opened in February of 2025, so they've only been there for like a year.
Yeah, they're doing great work. Go there, get the pozole. And that made me want to try everything else they had. So when I go back, not if, when, I'm going back there again. And I'll know to just get something different or just have the pozole be the only thing.
But that is like a really nice combination. There's 3 breweries, the Mexican place, and a distillery in that building, along with the museum. There's a chocolate place. There's art space.
Yep.
There's a whole bunch of stuff packed into that warehouse building.
It reminded me of the building that Tattersall was in.
Yeah.
Because then there was the Dash Fire distillery in that same building as well. Kind of a little bit cavernous. We took a
couple wrong turns
trying to find the bathroom. Yeah, it was good. And then it was off to Component Brewing.
Yes.
On the first floor, and that was kind of fun. The bartender was very chipper.
She had a lot to say, too.
She had a lot to say. My kind of bartender.
Yeah.
She really was going on and on about trivia.
Well, she put together her own
trivia.
So she had recently done her own 90s trivia
90s
night.
Themed. And
she was really happy with it. So she was reading off the questions to us and another pair that were there.
Yeah, that was good. They had some really yummy lagers. The pierogi pills.
Yeah.
That was yummy. I think they also had...
They had Czech pills, too.
Yeah, they had anytime you can do a Czech pills and something else pills. And I was really tempted to get a full pour of the Czech pills because I wanted it in that mug. But then I was like, maybe we shouldn't do any more full pours.
We're all about the glassware.
Yeah, I do like some good glassware. But that was, they had a lot of different stuff. They also, didn't we do the barrel-aged swirled stout.
Yeah.
It was a pastry stout. And I don't usually go for pastry stouts, but that was wasn't that like a cinnamon bun inspired stout? I thought that was pretty good.
And then we also did a pumpkin barrel-aged pumpkin beer.
The barrel-aged Oh My Gourd.
Yeah.
Which I do love a pumpkin beer, so that was nice. It's nice to come in when, find a pumpkin beer.
What we didn't see, they offer ASL translated brewery tours there. And
that's really cool.
They also have menus that have Braille on them.
Oh, see, now I love them even more.
Yeah.
Maria had been there before.
Yeah.
And I think she said their beers were good. Bayview Brunch, that was their brown ale.
They also had really fun artwork on the walls that would be just basic old boring paintings that all of a sudden they have painted in a thing from Star Wars or there was some other like goofy funny stuff on their walls. At that
point, I was about the trivia. I was about the chatting. I kind of lost the interest in like I don't have very many pictures of that.
And I was more tapped out socially, so I was wandering around looking at stuff
funny.
that wasn't going to talk to me.
Yeah, the Pull Tabs and Chandeliers IPA. I think that was my highest
was good
rated.
Too.
That was really yummy. That was my highest rated beer. Yeah, the beers were good. And then normal people would be done after that.
We're not normal.
Not us, Courtney. We literally walked outside around the corner of the building and walked into
another brewery.
New Barons Brewing Cooperative. And I was excited to go there because they're a co-op.
They were Wisconsin's first brewery co-op.
Yes. And so I was really interested in hearing how they did that because I'm a member at Broken Clock. I think brewing cooperatives done right are a really neat concept. And so we had a nice chat with Dan, the bartender.
Dan was pretty great.
Great
He's
name.
also like the vice president on their board.
Oh, is he?
I
Okay.
don't know if you saw that, but
I assumed like at a co-op there are multiple roles, multiple hats that people wear, but he was very knowledable and
he
talked
was
with
really
us a
fun
lot.
to talk to.
Yeah, that was nice. And I think we probably would have stayed there. At that point I was kind of like 50-50 because I knew there was a distillery there, but also knew my Pozole meter was running low. I'm gonna patent that. Do you suppose there's a Pozole of the Month club out there?
I bet you could find one.
I'm gonna search for that.
You should work on that.
So I was like, okay, well, I don't know. Do I want to get up and walk to the distillery? I thought we'd have to leave.
No.
And he was like, no, you can just walk down that hallway. And so I did. I was like, well, let me just go check it out.
Yeah.
I came back with the brandy old fashioned. Or no. It was a rye whiskey old fashioned. Because I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I want to try their rye.
Well, and that was the cool thing too. Like you could share drinks between both places. So you could take your beer over to the distillery or your fancy drink back to the brewery.
That would not be allowed in Minnesota.
No.
I don't think that's a possibility.
It was
unless
really
you're at
convenient.
like a brew pub. Yeah, it's super convenient. The decor in there was really cool. That was very much my speed especially for the last stop of the night.
Yeah.
Very dark.
It was very dark.
Candles,
plants.
cool lights, plants. Yeah, everything was really neat. And Elijah was the mixologist.
Yes.
He was really cool.
Elijah, oh my God.
He was a talker. He was really excited to talk about what they were doing. And I think that I didn't get the other gentleman's name. It was not super busy. So they were doing some experiments and maybe trying to concoct some new flavors and whatnot. But it was really cool.
And remember earlier when I said that blue cheese was not my flavor?
Oh, yeah.
Elijah.
Well, that was. So we closed out at New Barons, said goodbye to Dan.
A sad goodbye because he was really, really nice.
Yeah, and then slapped some stickers on some prime real estate and then headed over there. Well, what I was going to say is when you ordered, and I don't know if they do this, but I was pretty excited about the rye, and I was talking to him about kind of what their process was. And so I ordered one, and he poured me just like a little sample. He's like, well, here's the rye on its own, so you can kind of try it before you. I thought that was really cool. So we went back over there for one last drink.
Which might have turned into two.
Which turned into two. But again, not driving, so we were being responsible. The people to our left said, ask about the blue cheese drink.
And I'm thinking, why would I do that? That sounds terrible.
Okay. And I was even on the fence. I mean, I love blue cheese.
Not to drink.
Well,
there was a lot wrong with that for me.
Don't yuck another person's yum. Sometimes buffalo wings are just a vehicle for blue cheese dressing because I love it. So he was talking about a blue cheese wash. I've heard this term. I still don't quite understand it.
He tried his best to explain it to us.
So from what I gather, he'll soak blue cheese in whatever it is, whatever spirit for a little while, then freeze it, and then run it through like a cheesecloth or like a filter, and then whatever that spirit is, if it's done right, takes on the essence and almost the flavor and the aroma of whatever it was washed with. And I think there's some chemical component to the fat in the blue cheese latching on to certain compounds in the spirit that create that almost like it just becomes that thing. I don't know. But I was like, okay. Then he poured us a little taster of a drink that he was making, and I don't remember what he called it, but I think it was like this drink, and it had basically pear, blue cheese, walnut.
He had been, I don't know if you caught the exchange, he had been over in New Barron when we were there asking Dan, our new friend Dan, about what fruit pairings go with blue cheese.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
And Dan kept telling him pear. It's always pear.
Yeah. So then he whipped up this little concoction for us with some of that blue cheese wash spirit, some pear liqueur or whatever, and we were sipping on it, and I was like, this is bonkers. This is crazy.
It's one of those drinks my brain is saying, you should not drink that. You're not going to like that. That's horrifying. Why would anyone do that? But you taste it, and it's so good.
Yeah. I was really impressed with all the different things I had.
Yeah.
So I think that was my second drink was their Wisconsin Old Fashioned. And then you had something real fancy.
I had some other fancy drinks. The first one, it was more like spicy / savory.
Right. Yeah.
It was really, really good.
And I don't know. I don't think we've mentioned the name of this distillery yet, but it was called Twisted Path Distilling.
Do you know why it's called Twisted Path Distillery?
No, but I feel like you're going to tell me.
The guy that started it used to work in counterterrorism at the CIA, and then he went into criminal prosecution, and then he went into distilling. So he named it Twisted Path because that's just kind of like a weird path in life that he took.
Yeah, that's very good.
And they had kind of a mantra on their website that was just everyone should find their own path without being worried about what other people are going to think.
I like that.
Yeah.
It certainly worked for the drinks, and I think that was like a really nice way to cap off our trip because we were going home the next day.
Another fun fact, because I'm not done there.
Oh, yeah. Here we go.
They are also Wisconsin's only certified organic distillery.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So they do vodka, gin, rum, and then we didn't sample any of this, and I feel like someone else had told us about it, but their chai liqueur is supposed to be really incredibly good.
Yes.
And we missed that.
Yes. And somebody was, oh God, who was that? Now that's going to bug me.
Was Maria telling us that?
It was either Maria or one of the bartenders talking about how they get a bottle of that and they bring it to their holiday.
Somebody was telling us how good it was.
So I don't know. I thought that was a great way to kind of end the weekend.
Yeah.
The perfect nightcap to our trip.
Yeah.
Like the really good. And I thought that, I would go back there in a heartbeat.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I felt like the amount of time we were there was really good. It left me wanting more.
Yeah.
Like we didn't get to lakefront.
There were a bunch we didn't get to.
There were other breweries that we could have gone to, other bars that we could have gone to. But I think that's good. I think it's nice. You have a good time when you want to go back to a place. Whereas like I don't think I need to go back to Boise, Idaho. I feel like I
well, they kind of did you wrong, Dan.
And there's been some other places where I'm like, okay, I feel like I've seen this.
Yeah.
I don't really need to come back unless things dramatically change. I guess for me, that was one of the biggest eye openers was that a lot of new breweries have come in.
Yeah.
Even since the last time I was there. And so I felt like there's still more new stuff happening here. And I think that's exciting.
I really liked we were around so many really nice people.
Yeah.
Who are giving us all kinds of go try this, go try that. You can't miss out on this. They like the town they live in. They like the beer scene that they're in, the liquor scene that they're in. They want you to go experience these good things.
And when you're at your favorite local brewery, somebody comes in from out of town, what's the first thing you want to do? Pull them over. I've got a list for you.
Yeah, look.
You need to go to these places because I think once we find stuff that we like in our own town, we want everybody to experience that.
Yeah.
And I think that's the mark of being a good citizen of your community is telling people to go. And we're not sending them, nobody said, hey, go to this chain or like it was all go to this place. People just, I think they connect. If you're into craft beer, you're also into good coffee.
Yep.
Good restaurants, good bars. And you're not wanting you're conscious of where you're spending your money. And I think that comes across. So like as we were giddy about being there, I think a lot of the really nice people that we met were giddy to tell us where to go. That's the fun excitement of traveling for beer.
Yes.
It was so fun. It was
I really like, we were in so many old spaces.
Yeah.
I really like how they have repurposed buildings, taken these really old buildings, not raised them to the ground and built something new, but just repurposed them to something that works now.
Yeah.
And you get some of that history and you just get that old comfy feeling in them.
Yeah. So then that was our Saturday night. Got up the next morning, checked out of the Airbnb, went to Collectivo Coffee.
Yes.
And it was nice because the sun was shining. Did you ever figure out whether your fried egg existed under the avocado on your toast?
It did not.
that was kind of a thing. But
I was really excited about my avocado toast that was supposed to have arugula and goat cheese and a fried egg on it. And when they gave it to me, it was only avocado with red pepper flakes, which was a different item on the menu. So I did really sheepishly go up and say, this is not what I ordered. Can you please give me the one I ordered? And then when they brought the new one out to me, it had the arugula, it had the goat cheese. It was still missing an egg, but I couldn't go back up there a second time. It was still delicious. It was fine. I don't need that protein.
Yeah. I think after that blue cheese washed whatever stayed in my nostrils pretty much the rest of the next day. And so I don't know if it was a good thing the next morning that it was like kind of living in there, but that was really fun. And then we drove. The sun was shining for most of it. And then we're getting closer to the cities, but we're still like an hour out. And you're like, we should stop one more place. And I'm like, okay. I first searched Eau Claire, and then I'm like,
I think some of them were closed.
They were closed because it was Easter Sunday. So, then we were like, well, let's try Menominee. And I was thinking, because I know you really enjoy pizza, maybe Lucette Brewing is open because they have really good pizza there.
Oh.
They were closed. And then I'm like, Brewery Nonic, maybe they'll be. Oh, they're open. And I called, do you have food? No, we serve brunch, but blah, blah, blah. So we're like, okay. So we found an Herbert and Gerbert's, got a sandwich, and brought it to Brewery Nonic in Menominee, Wisconsin. And that was such a neat, cute, quaint little spot.
It was the perfect last stop on our trip.
Because by then it was kind of overcast. Maybe it was starting to rain a little bit. It was very much kind of had a pub feel. They had 2 beer engines. And I'm always like, okay, that's, you got me sold there.
It was all over for you at that point, Dan.
Yeah. And they're the main beer that they have on the beer engine at all times is a British bitter, which was like a 4.2% beer called, I think, Strange Ways. And then they also had a dry Irish stout, but then you got a flight.
Which I didn't drink all of because I was driving.
That's okay. Yeah, you were being very responsible.
But I sampled them all.
Yes. And they were good.
Yeah.
There was it was a sweet potato porter.
It was a sweet potato porter. It
Which
was so
is different
good.
than a pumpkin porter. Had a neat kind of like, sweet potatoes are.
I love sweet potatoes.
They're good. The sweet potato porter was really.
It was
yummy.
really good.
Now that was an old building.
Yes, it was.
Do you want to say how old?
It was a restored 1906 railway depot that used to be a train station and a feed mill, and it actually had passengers up until 1961.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
Yeah. And it's on the Wisconsin and National Register of Historic Places.
Oh, okay. It had the windows. When you look in old windows, they've got like a kind of, not a shimmer, but like a.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The glass looks like a little distorted. It had those windows. I'm like, oh, this is a really cool place. I think we were talking and we both agreed that would be a perfect place just to like camp out with like a book.
Yes.
Or just like, and just chill, do some writing, do some reading. But
again, really mellow.
Yep. A weird thing with like, I like things to end on certain numbers. And I'm like, we can't leave Wisconsin with only going to 9 breweries. So I'm like, that was brewery number 10. That was a great.
Do you know what the word nonic is?
Well, is it the British word for mooning someone?
No.
Okay. Then I don't.
It's an English pint glass that has a ridge near the top that prevents glasses from sticking together when you stack them.
Yes. Okay, that makes sense. The nonic pint.
Yeah.
I actually have some nonic pint glasses.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is like a pub thing.
And
I didn't know that was the purpose for the thing.
Yeah, that's why.
Well, you learn something new every day.
I'm full of fun facts today, Dan. I told you.
A brainiac. You're a brainiac. So takeaways. What was your favorite thing about the trip, and how does it compare to? I know that you've been to Dallas, you've been to Atlanta. If you could only go back to one brewery, what would you go back to?
Oh gosh. That's so hard because they all had such different feels. It would depend on my mood for the day. Supermoon, I just want to hang out there all day long with a book.
Yep.
I could hang out there all day long with a book and be really happy with life.
Yeah.
But if I'm feeling more energetic, I'm going to go someplace like Third Space that was a little bit peppier. I really, really liked their space and the vibe that was in there. The only place that made me sad was Amorphic.
Yeah.
And it's because of the kids running around and not the brewery itself.
Yeah.
Although maybe a little bit the brewery itself, because they could have put a stop to it and did.
Yeah. And I can't hold that against them because
I can.
I mean, I think for me, the place I would go back to, if I could only go back to one of the breweries that we went to, I think it would have to be Third Space, just because I really like their beers so much. The level of drinkability, I think across the board there was my go-to.
Well, they had such a big list to pick from, and they split their board where on one side it was, these are our classics that are all the time, and then the other side was stuff that was not necessarily seasonal, but rotating. But it was an enormous list.
And I would have said Supermoon, except those beers don't get along with my stomach after too many.
Yeah.
I could have hammered away at a lot of the Third Space beers all day long.
Yeah.
I think there would be a lot of repeats that I'd want to go back to and try more of. If you just want to go have a nice weekend and you don't want to plan and you just want to be in a central location, Bayview.
Bayview was
amazing. You got to go to Bayview. Got to check out. There's so many places we didn't go to.
Yeah.
We didn't go to the video game themed bar.
What?
The Mothership.
Oh yeah.
We didn't go to Bernhardt's. We didn't go to Hot Honey Pies. So there's more. We'll have to make a return visit someday.
Oh, shucks.
Oh, darn it.
But it's going to be someday when it's nice and sunny and we get to enjoy the lake and we get to go to lakefront and have like a scenic
have to try
kind of
those
thing.
cheese curds again. My God.
Yeah.
Courtney, where can people find you?
You can find me at The Brewery Adventure on Instagram or on the World Wide Web at thebreweryadventure.com.
And you can find me on Instagram, Facebook, Blue Sky, Mastodon. Just search up a One Pint Stand. And we're recording at Wandering Leaf, and they have a great array of beers, some exciting things happening, and a really nice, easy drinking beer. If you're into English Dark Milds called A Bit Weird Innit, come get some. It's delicious.
We should also say that we are both going to be editing our own versions of this.
That's right.
So if you are listening to this on a One Pint Stand or listening to this on a Brewery Adventure, you should also check out the other version to see what you might be missing.
So the edits will be different. I'm going to redo it all in German.
Sprechen Sie Deutsch?
Sprechen Sie Deutsch, Gesundheit. I think I had that once on a menu. And then after you listen to both versions, you're probably going to want to take some time off and head to Milwaukee.
Yes, would recommend.
And don't forget to stop at the National Mustard Museum in Middleton, Wisconsin.
Would also recommend. And please bring me back some mustard because I'm going to need it.
By then, you might be down to your last jar.
That's true.
And we'll see you next time. Cheers.
Cheers.
Ooh,
Oh.
nice.